agree with you for sure.
Hey, question. Is that a Mastery by Robert Greene behind you?
Yes, it is.
So it's funny, right? I did a bike trip cross country like in 2011. I went from
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, which is East Coast, to
Yep.
um, Seattle, Washington, which is the West Coast, about 4,000 miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, like the theories I had when I was in college, that I had even when I was like, I guess, younger than that, but one of the theories I always had growing up, in a sense, was whatever you wanted to do as a kid was your purest desire. And then
Mm-hmm.
anything else that you decided to do after that was the universe, not the universe, sorry, the societal pressure being put on you, right? So
Right.
when I was a kid, I remember I was at like a church function or something. And like I'm not religious now, but my mom, we used to go to church and stuff when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to this church function and asked like all the kids, like, what do you want to be when you get older? I said a NASCAR driver,
Mm.
dead ass serious, right? I wanted to drive race cars, right? My dad worked in a car dealership. I wanted to drive cars. I got laughed out by everybody in there.
Mm-hmm.
They just laughed, right? Like, you black, you can't be a NASCAR driver. And I've noticed I don't do that anymore. I guess that was one of those like kid things. My
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing was always to be a hero and save the world. But I just remember that because that was like, that could have been the thing that broke me as a kid
Yeah,
to
I was gonna
leave
ask. Do
my,
you think that affected you?
can I curse on this?
Go ahead. Do you?
Yeah, no, like that gave me a very fuck everybody attitude, which I
Mm-hmm.
already had.
Mm-hmm.
But it added to my nonchalant attitude. But I just remember thinking like, fuck y'all. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
a kid. I can't remember how old it was, but I knew the word fuck. My parents cursed a lot. So I knew that word and how to display it. But no, that wasn't a defining moment in my life. That's just a memory that I would never.
Mm.
Okay, I guess it is a defining moment. It's a memory I have of realizing that your dreams are not for everybody. And if you're too
Right.
small, if people's minds are
Mm.
too small, they're not open enough for that, it's not going to
That's good.
work. So I remember those little posters in elementary school where it was like the mind works like a parachute, or the mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. There's always
Mm.
little posters on the wall. I remember that one all the time. And that moment in that church was a defining moment that they don't see what I see, and you can't expect them to believe what you believe, which is why I came up with the thing. I guess at some point, I don't know when I have these random, like I came up with this thing, but at some point in my life, I came up with a thing, a saying, a phrase of believing yourself so much that others are forced to do the same, because no
Mm.
one
I love that.
believes in you until you believe in you,
Yep.
right? Like I believed in people that didn't believe in themselves. It was a waste of my fucking time.
Waste your time and
Wasting
energy.
my fucking time. But when someone starts believing in themselves, that's when people are like, okay, okay. Like the dude that goes to the gym, starts out scrawny, starts out skinny, he's gonna get laughed at by everybody in there. His friends are gonna laugh at him, but he keeps it up. He starts getting those abs, starts looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's gonna change their attitude about what he did because they're gonna like, okay, we see you, we believe in you. Um, so that was definitely, I guess, a defining moment in my life. It didn't mess me up, but it let me know things were how things were. I guess the best way
Mm-hmm.
to put it. Because like I said, I always
Absolutely.
wanted to be a hero. I always wanted to save the world. So NASCAR driving was just one of those things as a kid. I just want to be a NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck that. Them that shit was funny. It's a great memory. But I brought up mastery because when I was on that bike trip, the thing I went into thinking was what you want to do as a kid was your purest, your most pure desire. And I remember I talked to a guy and he owned a bike shop, right? Because
Mm.
we were on bicycles, so stopped the bike shops and getting stuff repaired. And I was talking to him, and I was like, "Oh, what do you want to do as a kid?" Trying to figure out if my theory was correct. I asked a bunch of people along the trip these things, but this guy I remember specifically. He said he always wanted to build toys, wanted to be a
Mm.
toy maker. So I laughed. I was like, "Aha! This is what you're doing now. You,
Yeah.
these are big toys." And I told him my theory, and he said, "I'll do one better. I'll do you one better. I'm actually a retired rocket scientist for NASA. I used to make the rockets or design the rockets that went into space. But then I retired. I, always loved bikes, so here I am." I was like, well, shit, there you go. He always wanted to make toys. He made the biggest fucking
The
toys in
biggest
the
toy.
world, sent them off into space. And I remember I was reading Mastery. I read 48 Laws of Power, Art of Seduction, 33 Strategies of War. I skipped over the 50th Law. I'm not reading that shit. It was 250 cents for me, and I just wasn't fucking with that one. But I remember looking at Master, opened it up, and the very first fucking chapter, that little sliver right in the middle, it was talking about how whatever you want to do as a kid was what you always wanted to do. Then it went into the story about the girl that played like tennis and was a doctor and all of a sudden became like this robotic arm thing or something. I remember seeing that, reading that fucking thing, and I was looking at it, and I was in my fucking house, and I was like, "You fucking right," because I'd never read that fucking book before. Never heard of Robert Greene at the time I came with this theory. But here it is in black and white. Somebody else has the same fucking idea, the same thought I had. And this motherfucker is way richer than I am, way more famous than me. Definitely looking at this book way smarter because I'm not writing a fucking book. So I'm just like, this is fucking dope. Fuck yeah, I knew I was right. And yeah, so that's why I brought that up. It's just, I was fucking right.